a mass on that deer.
But it really is the best tip that I've ever gotten on shooting a bow.
Just happen to have a perfect gap to the edge. More behind it.
He's coming.
bit since the shot. I do have 2 tags, so we're waiting to see if these other birds were gonna come up too. There were birds gobbling back behind him, but man, what a crazy hunt. He came in just, it was agonizing. It was so slow. He was standing here, well, he probably stood at 20 yards forever, and then he came into like 6 yards, and then he decided to do a big loop around our decoy spread, and the shot was probably close to 30. We had some time to look through the video, and it looks like that arrow does get up in there. He was quartering away from me just a little bit, so I think the sun's starting to come out now. I think we're gonna make our way down the hill. He got up and flew right down towards this ditch, so we're gonna see if he's holed up in a brush pile or something down there. But like I said, it does look like the arrow gets up in there, so hopefully he's just laying at the bottom of the hill.
Whoa. Yo, Jared, come check this out.
Find it?
No, a giant deadhead.
Look at the mass on that deer. Oh my goodness. That is crazy. Look at that thing.
That mass is incredible.
You can't even get your hands around it. We're looking for this turkey in this ditch, and I'm walking the top and Cooper's walking the bottom, and just spotted this. You see all the bones and stuff kind of buried. It's been here a long time. But what a giant. I mean, you can't even get your hand around some of these spots. The mass. I don't know if you can appreciate it, but that is a giant deer. Unfortunately, gotta leave this here until we get a salvage tag, but I'm gonna keep going up this ditch, and hopefully that turkey's not too far.
Hey Jared, is that your knock?
Where?
Right along the fence up here.
There he is. That's a goose. That was another turkey. Yeah, he really didn't go all that far. Because that's crazy. Depending on where he landed, he didn't go far at all. Looks like he came in right here. Pretty bird. I'll tag out. Get a good hook on him. Alright, we brought the turkey down here by the Deadhead to do one final interview. And I don't think I've mentioned it yet, but we're on the project farm this morning, that farm that I deer hunted quite a bit this past fall. And it's actually sold. Tomorrow is the closing date, so this is our final day on the project farm. And you probably couldn't have drawn up a better morning. A big old tom. This is probably one of the bigger turkeys I've shot in quite a while. And then of course the giant deadhead. Unbelievable mass to it, just a really cool find. So unfortunately I'm gonna miss this place, but like I said, it's hard to beat this kind of morning as our final day on the project farm. You know, turkey hunting for me is something to kind of pass the time in between deer seasons. I mean, that down there is kind of what I live for, but it is fun trying to chase these things with a bow and no blind and filming it, and you know, adding all those different facets that makes it a little more of a challenge like deer hunting. So it was a fun morning with Cooper chasing these things down, and that's the end of the story of the project farm, unfortunately, but like I said, a good way to end it.
It was definitely a shame to see that buck that Jared found dead on the project farm. Probably almost as big of a shame as Jared not being able to hunt the project farm this coming season. But it comes to show us how special those 5-year-old bucks really are. We think that if we pass them up and if we don't shoot them and if our neighbors don't shoot them, that they're going to be there again for us to hunt the next season. But a certain percentage of them, higher than what we would like, die from natural causes. Regular buck mortality can result from disease, it can result from fighting. We get a lot of that on this farm. We find a lot of dead bucks that I know are the result of the bucks killing each other during the rut. Cars can hit them, and occasionally you're going to get somebody that will wound one, that you find later dead. But it's just, like I said, it's so special when you get that one that makes it through, that has the genetic potential to really be a big antlered buck and gets the age to show off those genetics. So we never want to take those deer for granted. In this next segment today, I'm going to talk about the best tip that I ever got on shooting a bow. A long time ago when I first started shooting a bow, I read in a hunting magazine that you should keep aiming at the target until the arrow hits. And that never really sank in that well for me because it didn't make sense. I didn't understand that, yeah, okay, you can do it with your eye, stay focused, but what they were really trying to imply was keep your pin on the spot that you're trying to hit for as long as you can. And that has really fixed a lot of problems that I've had over the years. Whenever I start getting inconsistent with my shooting and my groups start to get big, I just focus on keeping that bow arm pointed at the spot. Not necessarily the sight pin, because that takes too much, it's going to move. But if I can keep my bow arm pointed toward the target all the way through the shot until the arrow hits, it seems to take those group sizes and just cut them in half. If I'm shooting at 20 yards and I'm making about a 4-inch group, I'm thinking, man, I need to be shooting better than that. All I have to do at that point is focus on that bow arm and just holding it steady as I can until the arrow hits, and I'll shrink that group right in half. So I'm going to take a couple shots here real quick and show you that, but it's a super simple tip, but it really is the best tip that I've ever gotten on shooting a bow, and I believe it will help you to be more consistent too. Okay, so now all I'm thinking about as I'm aiming is trying to keep my arm there for as long as I can. And you'll see some people, they'll drop their bow, and that's the thing that gets you in trouble the most. It's real common, and I don't really know why they do that. I think it's just a bad habit, but just focus on keeping the bow arm up and pointed at the target until the arrow hits. So that's the best tip I ever got. Oh, and let's not forget about these Menards brand shooting gloves that I've been using. And I know I catch a lot of flack on these, but I really feel like that's an important part of shooting my bow too, because I don't get any bow hand torque because these things are slick. So there's nothing that keeps my hand from, sliding around on the grip. And it feels really awkward at first, but if you get used to shooting like this, you'll find that, you don't have that built-in tension that comes from having a sticky grip, against the bow, where, you can build up tension and then the bow will snap back. So maybe there's 2 tips today. One is to buy the 49-cent Menards brand shooting gloves, and the other one is to keep your bow arm up and on the spot you're trying to hit until the arrow hits. Well, I appreciate you joining us this week. We'll see you right back here again next week for the next episode of Midwest Whitetail. And remember to always dream big.